I'm just a regular guy with a regular job, but I've got this condition where I don't feel pain.
Hey, Jack, it's nice to sit with you and talk about Novocaine. You know, we went to the premiere last night.
Yeah, I caught you right before you actually went in there. So it's good to see you right after you've seen the movie.
Yeah,
sure.
Of course. And I asked you all the hard-hitting questions, so so we can get that out of the way, all the pleasantries. We can,
cool. We can just get right to the nitty-gritty.
The meat of it, yeah. So I got to ask you because, seeing you have such great chemistry with Aaron Moriarty in The Boys. You have great chemistry with Maya Erskine in Plus One, and then you have amazing chemistry with Amber Midthunder in Novocaine. What is your secret? How do you do this everyman stuff where you're just the most charming, lovable person?
Thank you. I mean, all those actresses you just named are just incredible. It's easy when you're doing a scene with somebody like that. Like all three of them have this innate. I think all chemistry really is two actors who are willing to listen to each other, and I feel like I try to be the best listener I can possibly be, and all of them are incredible listeners as well, and also just so talented in so many ways. I got really lucky being paired with Amber, who's such a badass in her own right, and I was a fan before she was even cast, and I remember the directors texting me being like, "We got Amber Midthunder," like all caps, all the exclamation points, I just want to keep working with her forever. She's amazing.
She is great. Legion was like my first
thing
for her,
yeah.
She was just
amazing.
She was wonderful.
So good.
So what drew you to this role? Because, it's a little bit of a blend of obviously romance, which you're familiar with, and then also action that you're familiar with, but this is a unique approach to it.
Yeah, I mean, the action stuff is what really drew me to the role, I think, just because I had done rom-coms in the past, and I had kind of like an awakening watching specifically John Wick 4. I remember seeing it in theaters, and it was this noticeable step up in every single department of that franchise. And I love that franchise already, but the stunts were incredible. Keanu Reeves, I think, deserves an Oscar for his stunt work. The fact that he's able to do all of that in character, have a certain physicality that is specific to John Wick and not the rest of his roles, I just think it was so impressive to watch. So I've been an action movie fan for a very long time, and I like that this movie is I think the goal is trying to harken back to those character-based action movies out of the 80s and 90s where, yes, the action's impressive, but you care about these characters and you care about these people. All of that drew me in. I wouldn't say anyone thinks of me as a Keanu Reeves, but I really wanted to get into the action space, and this was the perfect project where it's not about how much I can kick ass, it's about how much my ass can get kicked and my character keeps getting back up. And I wanted to contrast how absolutely gnarly the movie is with a kind of sweetness to the character of Nate. I think he's the sweetest character I've ever played. He's a total sweetie. And I love that about him.
That's all. My son's name is Nate. He's
amazing.
I think it's an
Nates
innate
are always
sweetheart,
good.
yes.
Nates are always good people, and I've found,
They are, yeah.
Yeah,
jury's out. What was your favorite stunt from this movie? What was the most fun for you to pull off in this one?
I think, there was a lot of, first of all, I have to give my stunt double, Hristo, a lot of credit as well. He took some of those bigger hits that were so impressive and cool. But I think, in terms of the fights, there's this one fight, there's two fights that I loved doing so much. There's the fight in the kitchen. That's kind of my first fight in the movie. And we get to have a lot of fun with just kind of being in a kitchen and all the little things that happen within an active kitchen with Nate's condition and with who he is as not a trained fighter. So that was unbelievable. And that was the first fight scene we really shot. So it was kind of our first okay, let's see if we can pull this off. And just kind of discovering little beats as we went was so rewarding and so fun. I love getting physical with a character, and this movie just gave me every opportunity to do that. But let me think of a specific moment. There's a stunt in there's a rundown house sequence, and there's some booby traps, and all of those were very fun to do. Getting to hang upside down for a very long time was very interesting. And I can do that for longer than I thought I could. It was insane. But it was all very, very fun.
That's a very fun sequence. The Home Alone traps that.
Oh yeah, very Home Alone.
And no selling them. You're just this is an inconvenience.
Exactly. Yeah, it's a totally. At that point, what I love about Nate at that point in the movie is that he's just a little bit mad that this is all happening to him anymore. Like the shock has worn off and he's just a little pissed. And I love that so much.
Like annoyed.
He's just annoyed. You're like, just like another one. Yeah.
Yeah. Which that brings me to my next question, because I think one of the most interesting thing about the character Nate Caine, and I want to ask you about your approach to it, is that, of course, he doesn't experience pain, which is the premise of the movie. Spoiler alert if you don't know that.
Oh, yes. That's David Caine doesn't feel pain. Yes.
So how does that change your approach, not just to the stunts and the violence, the action, but also just your physicality? Because we go through the beginning of the movie begins with a montage of you going through your morning routine, and then also there's the parts where you get intimate with Amber Midthunder's character, and I just want to know about your approach and how that how you approach that as an actor when like, okay, I don't sense these things the way other people do.
Yeah,
how do you physically embody that?
Well, that character has to go through, he goes through a really big arc, I think, in the movie. He has to keep himself at an arm's distance from the world, because just because he doesn't feel pain doesn't mean that he can't get hurt. So he has a very regimented, scheduled, very safe life, intentionally. And he's living alone. He's a guy that usually spends most of his time, I'd say, in his apartment or going to work and being at the bank, and that's it, So I think I tried to approach it in the beginning of the movie, I'm sitting very straightforward, very upright, very careful of all of my surroundings, as much as checking visually, because I wouldn't be able to know if I, stepped on a nail or anything. And then I try to kind of get looser in my physicality as the movie goes, because yes, it's this guy who can't feel pain, and it's an action movie, and it's wild and crazy, but he's really like a new person in the world. He's kind of discovering the world for the first time. He doesn't really leave his apartment ever. So that's kind of the journey I was going on with him, was like, how is this? He's just like a new being in the real world. He's never really been to out to a restaurant all that much in his life, or definitely not to a tattoo parlor or any of the crazy places he goes. So it's a journey of really coming into himself, which I think I tried as best as I could to display with my physicality.
Would you try to give yourself a tattoo in real life?
No. Dear God, no. I did have to learn how to use a tattoo gun for this movie, which was insane. They gave me this, there's a tattoo artist who kind of ran me through the ropes of doing it. And they gave me it sounds gross, but these sheets to practice with, and they're sheets of fake skin that I tattooed little smiley faces on and just stuff like that. So if you wanted a tattoo of a smiley face, I could provide.
If you're doing flash ones out after this, I'll meet you.
There we go. Yeah, I'm just gonna set up a booth outside, and we'll yeah, exactly. It'd be perfect.
All right, so I got to ask you last question. So I know there's, this can obviously turn into a franchise, have sequels, all things considered. And I'm sure you guys have been cooking up some crazy scenarios. Is there a stunt maybe that you wanted to do in this one, or a sequence that we cut, or something that you're looking forward to do in a potential future film?
Oh man, I mean, we would love that. That'd be so cool. I hope people like it enough for us to be able to do that one day. That'd be amazing. If that happens, I mean, yeah, I'd be lying if I said I hadn't thought about it. It'd be very cool to, with a potential second one, is embrace San Diego a little bit more. I want there to be maybe a sequence in the Gaslight District, or sorry, the Gas Lamp District, or maybe have Nate, run through Comic-Con or something, and just have to weave through cosplayers. But yeah, in terms of the stunts or the injuries or anything like that, I mean, I think Dan and Bobby and the team, they come up with such good injuries and stunts, and they're all kind of sort of riding that line of believability. If we kept going, I'd like to keep that alive, where it's okay, he'd get hurt from this, but he wouldn't necessarily die. Save those for the more dire situations.
The San Diego Convention Center was
exactly.
the Comic-Con nerds.
Yeah, you can have a fun chase sequence in that. That intersection. I'm sure you've been there a lot, where it's all the different people mixing in the train tracks, and just have something set there. I think could be so cool.
Yep, pedal cabs and the street preachers.
Exactly. Oh my God, a pedal cab chase. We have to have it.
There we go.
Be amazing.
I'm executive producing the next movie.
Yeah.
So,
okay. Welcome aboard.
Yeah. Cool. Awesome. Well,
you get a free tattoo for that.
Exactly. That's my payment. That's good. Good credit and a tattoo.
Fantastic.